I get asked all the time, is the market going to crash? Are we in a real estate bubble just like we've seen in the past? And let's get into some of the specifics and some of the reasons why we may or may not be in a real estate bubble. Here we go. I'm Sam and welcome to the Living in Tampa, Florida channel. Right here, every single week, we release videos about what it's like to live, work, play, and move to the Tampa, Florida area. If that's something you want to follow along with, make sure you subscribe and hit that little bell so you don't miss any of our new videos. I also am a licensed realtor in the state of Florida, so if you have any real estate specific questions, I'm always here to help you with anything. My number and email are right there on the screen. And in the description down below the video, there's a link to my calendar. So if you wanted to schedule a 30-minute call or Zoom call, it's really easy right there. All right, let's get into it. Is the market crashing? Are we in a bubble? And I think we ask this question a lot because a lot of us that are buying homes right now were very aware of the last bubble, the 2007, 2008 real estate bubble. And of course, we've seen movies about it like The Big Short, and there were others that kind of tried to explain this situation, and a lot of laws that came into our culture and into our system to keep those kind of things from happening again. And I'm also not going to say that I have the answers, because I don't. No one really knows exactly what is going to happen, and there's a lot of variables present right now. We are in the midst of a pandemic. We have record low interest rates. The stock market is doing all kinds of unique things. Not necessarily unique in like that they're unprecedented, but they're unique in that they're a little bit volatile right now. And we have things like cryptocurrency introducing some new volatility into our market and into our mindset as consumers as well. But a lot of people I talk to, they say, I'm just gonna wait. I'm gonna wait and see. I think it's gonna come back down. It's gonna crash. It's gonna burst. Whatever it is, and I don't actually think that's the case. There's some factors that we'll get into that kind of make me think that way, and hopefully you can see my perspective on this. I like the imagery of a bubble actually because it implies that it could and potentially maybe it's inevitable that it will burst. And if we look at the bubble of 2017, the main thing that describes and contributed to that bubble growing bigger and bigger and eventually bursting was product risk. Loans were being issued that should not have been issued. We've all heard about the subprime mortgages and subprime tranches and things like that from movies. And really what that was is just poorly qualified loans. They do this process when you apply for a loan where you're talking about your assets, your employment, and that kind of stuff. There was ways back then to do it based on stated assets. So you could tell the lender that you have $50,000 in cash and really you only have $5,000. Maybe you have another $50,000 that's in a retirement account, but you can't really get it out. Or your grandma told you could always borrow some if you really needed it, but it's not really accessible. And you were able to get loans based on that kind of stated asset back in 2007. And you are actually able to get loans that way now, but it's very, very difficult. Another product risk of that time was what they called ninja loans. No income, no job, and no assets. So all of these loans were just being issued on like the benefit of the doubt. And that's not really a way to justify a giant loan for a property. Other things that were happening during the 2007 bubble were kind of intro periods where you got a certain interest rate for the beginning of your loan, or they were marketing rates in a different way that got you in the door. And then some of these were just kind of predatory techniques as well, or they included balloon payments that were kind of unexpected and maybe even a little bit hidden. A lot of these predatory techniques have been eliminated through some laws that help the consumers. So in the midst of that bubble, about 40% of new mortgages issued in 2007 were considered high-risk products. Currently, over the past 12 months, only about 2% of mortgages issued are considered high-risk products. So that is even just a fundamental difference. And I also understand that, like, oh, maybe we're just missing it like we did last time, and all those kind of factors exist. But hopefully we have learned something from that last bubble and that last real estate and financial crisis that we caused. One of the reasons I thought to make this video, well, first is that I get asked this kind of stuff very, very often. I mean, multiple times a week. But I also received an email from the Florida Realtors Association this morning, kind of some news articles and things like that. And the main like headline article was, "This is not a bubble." And I kind of dug into it and found the article quite interesting. This article did talk about product risk and those kind of factors. And it also talked about just an actual lack of supply. And economists are often, bringing in that kind of language of supply and demand. And let's think about the main ways that affects real estate. The basic way, in a very kind of macroeconomic view, when supply goes down, prices go up. When supply goes up, prices go down. I mean, and you understand that if you buy a one-off item, it's gonna cost more money than, an item that there are millions of. And I think about that from a sneaker perspective. Whenever I try to buy an exclusive sneaker, I am trying very hard to buy that so I can resell it for a lot of money. And people are willing to pay quite a bit more for something that there's a limited quantity of. And real estate is something that there is a limited quantity of. And that relationship between supply and demand is constantly moving prices up and down. So I've had a lot of discussions with buyers and friends about this as well. And in the midst of this, what is the real issue? Do we have more buyers? Maybe because renters are converting to buyers, maybe people are leaving cities and moving to the South. All these kind of factors are kind of existing, but do we have more buyers or do we have less supply? This article pointed out was that we have a lot less supply. So right now there's about 1 million homes on the market on an average day. And those are constantly selling and new ones are coming up. And we're kind of averaging about 1 million at a time right now. And in 2007, during the last bubble, right before it burst, there were 4 million homes on the market. Imagine if there were 4 million homes on the market right now, prices would actually go down significantly. But this actually gets to one of the questions that actually confuses me the most, and it's that why is supply so low? Why isn't this kind of evening out? And that is honestly something I just don't know. The reality is that supply is very low. And also another thing that makes this very different than 2007 is buyers are very, very qualified. Often buyers have cash. I have 2 different properties under contract right now. One is a conventional buyer. He's doing like a 5% down, so kind of a low down payment conventional loan. He's relocating from Colorado, moving here. He's already got his job. It's with the same company. He's just moving, so very typical kind of move. Another buyer is retiring, and he wants this waterfront property, and he was willing to go in and pay quite a bit more. And we offered about 5% over asking price to get this property. And that got the deal for him. Although this buyer has the ability to pay cash at this time, he's choosing to finance the property until he sells his other property in Pennsylvania. But on top of all of this, hedge funds are constantly buying homes in the Tampa area. And hedge funds are buying homes everywhere. This is actually something that Invitation Homes did back in 2007 and 8. In the midst of that crisis, they started buying real estate, and they were converting all of these single family homes to rental properties. And you can look up Invitation Homes and see how many homes they own. It's over 30,000 currently, and they are still buying homes. Another realtor I work with, he actually has a hedge fund as a client, and this hedge fund is willing to purchase up to 100 homes every month in the Tampa area between the 200 and 400,000 range. And those are cash offers. Maybe their asking price or a little bit over, but that's the kind of competition that buyers have right now. Of course, another thing that is affecting prices and people's ability to pay is interest rates. Interest rates are very, very low, and you might maybe even be confused about why that is tied so closely to home prices. But what happens is the Federal Reserve, lowers interest rates on overnight bank loans. Is essentially what they're lowering rates on. And that just makes it easier for banks to loan money. And that interest rate has a ripple effect on the whole economy. So Mortgage rates are often tied to that rate, or well, they're often tied to US bond rates, and then bond rates are tied to the overnight loan rates. It's just kind of it all kind of moves down based on this one interest rate being changed. And with interest rates at like under 3%, people can just afford so much more house. When your interest rate goes up, you're just paying more and more interest every single month. Actually, let's just do a little math. I'm gonna pull up my Zillow mortgage app, and I'm gonna say that you want a $300,000 house. So let's say it's 20% down. The market rate today is 2.6. We'll say property tax is $3,000 a year. We'll say homeowners insurance is $2,000 a year. There's no HOA on this imaginary house. So that payment is $1,388. Now let's raise the interest rate to 3.6. So if we get that up to 3.6, then the payment is $1,508. That is a significant difference, $1,388 up to $1,500, just by raising the interest rate by 1 point. And that drastically changes what people can actually afford to pay. For my clients that are wanting to wait, of course I want them to wait. I want them to make that decision for themselves. But I also challenge them with, what if the market just increased 20% in value instead of 10%? And in an area like Tampa, 10%, 7 to 10% is pretty common, especially for like the certain kind of house that everyone wants. But what if the increase was actually 15 to 20%, and we just need to allow prices to go up a little higher? And the issue is prices are that high. So, it might be listed at a 10% increase, but a lot of those houses are selling for over asking price, and even sometimes selling for over asking price for cash. So those values are not appraised, so then that's gonna bring all the other prices up with it. Maybe people will wait and prices will be about the same in the fall, and we'll just realize, oh, okay, that was a big increase, but here we are now. And it is even psychologically difficult to be one of the first people to buy after a big increase. Imagine you're in the beginning of the tech bubble, and IBM is making a big jump, and they just increased by 20-30%. Then you would think, it's too expensive now, I shouldn't buy it. But if you would have bought it, it would have kept climbing and climbing and climbing and climbing. And it's always easy to have like FOMO, like a fear of missing out on that kind of thing. And I don't want you to feel like pressured to feel that way about real estate. But if you do want to buy a home, I don't always know if waiting is the right option. And that is still a choice for you to make, but I don't think that the prices are gonna come down. I think they're going to maybe level out. Maybe growth will slow from 20% increase to 5% increase or 7% increase year over year, but it's not gonna go negative. There are actually just too many buyers for it to go negative. So I just leave you with that. What if prices don't come down? What if prices don't level out? What are you going to do? So yeah, just comment down below, kind of what do you think of the market right now? What do you think is going to happen? All of this is just our own opinion, and we can only work with the facts that we have and the data that we have. And this is my opinion based on that data. I hope you found this information useful. And if you did, don't forget to subscribe and hit that little bell so you don't miss any of our other videos. And please feel free to reach out anytime. My phone number and email are right there on the screen, and that calendar link is in the description down below. Thanks for coming by.